So understanding the context, as Damiano said, what is the context in which logistics is operating like right now? Let me start by giving a really brief definition of logistics. Logistics is the process of planning, implementing, and controlling the flow of goods, services, and information from the point of origin to the point of consumption. You already know what logistics is, but giving a definition makes clear how broad this sector is. And the broadness of this sector is also reflected on economic data. You see the 9.2% of GDP in Europe are related to logistics, and 13 million workers are employed in that sector. And there are differences, but similar numbers also in major European countries that you can see written in these slides. Logistics is really important, but is going into a period of big challenges, as Andrea Condotta said us earlier. After COVID-19, the world has changed. Different phases of disruption, stabilization, then disruption again. We have seen big conflicts, for example, in the Russo-Ukrainian war, the Middle Eastern conflicts. Obviously, these conflicts hit the people that are in this country, but also the logistics flows with big consequences on logistics flows. Let's think about the Red Sea crisis, and we hope that there will not be a similar situation in Hormuz, for example. And we all know also how much uncertainty there is right now related to the possible rise in trade tariffs, and we will see where it will bring. So let's see how the uncertainty in the market that you can see reflected also in the global supply chain pressure index is reflected both in inventory, warehouse, and then in transportation. Here, sorry for the Italian data. We are an Italian observatory, but in the next month, we are sure to be able to provide you similar data also for the European context. But we can say that all over Europe, not only in Italy, companies, especially in 2021 and 2022, have reacted to the growing uncertainty by increasing inventory to ensure themselves by the increasing uncertainty. And in a period of increasing warehouse cost, increasing interest rate with all the consequences on investments and warehouse carrying cost, warehouse rental fees that have seen big rises in all European countries in the last year, labor cost, not only legal labor cost, but also an increase, for example, in absenteeism, lower ability of companies to retain the workers, and obviously also the energetic prices that have risen in a really important way in 2021, 2022, then stabilized, but never coming back to the pre-2022 2022 period. So the inventory has been eaten, more so has been the transportation. The context affects transportation demand because the transportation demand is strongly linked with the economy, the economic trends, and obviously also the supply of asset transportation, and obviously also of workers. We all know that we live in a period of shortage, of labor shortage in logistics. There is a shortage of more than 1 million people in Europe, and this has caused in the last years, there have been different phases obviously, but that 75% of logistics service provider operating under conditions of undercapacity, and this has had big impacts both on cost and on service level and business continuity. Here only some details around cost. We have seen a rise in road transportation cost, especially in 2021, 2022. Then it has stabilized a little bit, but again, surely never coming back to the previous period. So we live in a period of higher transportation costs than before the 2021 and 2020. And obviously, big uncertainty in the world logistics flows. It is reflected in big fluctuation of the costs of containers all over the world. This is the World Container Index, so a global index. So we have seen uncertainty. These are the key messages: uncertainty, capacity that have been a big problem in the last year, and we live now in a period of limited capacity in logistics, although there are different phases. Then we have seen cost. What are the big consequences? The first is a pressure on the profitability, and the pressure in profitability that is especially challenging in a sector that has been historically characterized, if compared to other sectors, other industry, by low profitability. And this has big consequences, especially on the ability of companies to invest in a period in which big investments are required to overcoming challenges, overcoming uncertainty, and implement, for example, the green transition and digitalization. So let's see some, sorry again, some Italian data. We will give to you in the next month some European data on that too. What are the consequences on the logistics service provider on the contract logistics sector? Here we can see a big growth of the contract logistics sector in the last year in Italy and all over the world, all over Europe. But although there has been this big growth of contract logistics sector, we have seen a reduction in the number of logistics service providers in Italy and all over the world. We have seen a reduction of it that has two sides, one positive side and one negative. I'll start with the negative. Lots of companies, especially the smaller, are living in period of uncertainty and then difficulties, and these numbers reflect that. On the positive side, we see that the logistics service providers are more and more structured companies. There are also big investments. Let's think about, for example, the M&As in the sectors. And so there are providers that are much more able to deal with the challenges, important challenges in the sector. Okay, so let's conclude this really first part with the possible risk. Here you can see listed 3 risks. So challenges in business continuity, challenges on logistics potential to support economic growth. But the more important, I think, is the third one that is also strictly connected with the first 2. So the impact on the European economy competitiveness. So the issues and the challenges of logistics are issues and challenges that must be tackled for all the economy. And the benefits of having a good approach to logistics are benefits for all the economy, because we know the strategic role, as I said earlier, and as also Damiano, Andrea, and Fernando said before me. So thank you very much, and I will leave again to my friend Fernando the stage.